My name is Erika Tovar. I'm the SPE chairperson for the SPE Romanian section. On behalf of the young professionals, I want to introduce you with this special project that we have prepared for you. We believe that our former presidents deserve gratitude and recognition. So enjoy the video. Remember the past, plan for the future. Thank you.
My name is Dragomir Alexandru. I'm one of the past presidents of SPE Romania. I started in 2017 in July, and I have finished in 2020 this year, and I hand over to one of my professors, Mr. Minescu. So in all this period I was involving as much as I could in this SPE Romanian section, and what I'm doing now, I'm just doing what I was doing before, and that means I'm manager of sand control and stimulation department of OMV Petrom. Okay, so I'm technical and I'll remain technical. SPE is my first professional organization I joined. In that moment I was very proud to join. It was quite an exclusive organization, and since that moment I have used a lot the participation in SPE in a mean that I was using scientifically first of all. So all the science I learned was coming actually from SPE, especially from published papers, and based on it I built my career, because anytime I was doing a project, first I was informing myself, I was learning from previous experience, and this previous experience was published by SPE. So every case I built, every new project, actually I was based on SPE experience, and most of the cases what I learned from previous published experience was very useful, and I was successful, and based on this success I built a new project and a new project. So basically the knowledge was coming from SPE. I'm having 20 years now. Okay. Yeah, it was from 2000. Yeah. As a president, it was long but short in the same time, because it was passing so fast. Yeah. But it was one of the longest periods of my life, because it was full of events, and if you live at a very high level, what you pass through, you think that the time is a little bit longer. Yeah. However, it was passing quite fast, because it's like yesterday when I was proposed to be a president, and now, yeah, it's over. And of course, I hand over to somebody else. How it was these 3 years? Yeah, very interesting, very intensive. I was trying to do as much as possible, and first of all, scientifically to share my knowledge, to organize technical events based on what I know, to also involve my colleagues as much as possible, the best top specialists I knew, and which were not very involved in SPE, so it was a pity because they were not sharing their knowledge. I was trying to convince them to come in, to share their knowledge, and in these 3 years I was trying to organize as much as possible events and to bring together the biggest two companies in Romania from scientific point of view, to make them sharing knowledge, to make them being like a family. I mean, Romgaz and Petrom, trying to bring them together as much as possible despite the distance between Bucharest and Mediaș. I was trying to bring all of them together to make a community of science, scientific community in between them, and sharing knowledge between each other. And indeed it was very clear for both parts. They were not very aware about the other parts we're doing, and it was very, very successful. Even some offer for jobs have been shared in between the two companies, because people start knowing each other. They were saying, I need a specialist like this one in my company, and I have seen some offer received, including myself. I have received an offer based on these knowledge sharing meetings. This period, the biggest struggles was to just get the money you need for organizing everything. So this was not something impossible. I mean, we did it quite well about that, considering the crisis and all this not very good period we passed through, some dropping in oil price and so on. However, we managed to do so, but it was the most difficult part, because as I was saying when I was starting in the first year as a president, nothing which worth to be done can be done without the money. This was my principle, and indeed to work with professionals, to do something with high quality, you need the money for. Especially professional events need a lot of investment, and of course you need sponsors, and the most difficult part is to convince the sponsor that they also have something to gain from this. Yeah. So we had to prove that we are an organization with a big impact in the industry. That means the name of the company, if it's appearing on our events, that means it will be a lot of other people involved in the industry which will see it. So that's worth to be there, that's worth to invest the money in these technical events. And I have convinced quite a lot of companies to sponsor us and to have a good budget every year in order to arrange for big events, including international events. Yeah, sponsorship is the most difficult part. I mean, it was the most challenging, but not the most difficult in the way that we could not achieve it, because we have achieved what we have proposed ourselves. Yeah, it's a big difference actually between students are the most keen to join in, because they need some group to join on. They need some let's say friends, society in which they feel good to share knowledge, to make events together and so on. And they see a perspective and a chance to promote themselves, to know more people from inside the oil industry. That can be a very good connection for them and so on. Next generation is a little bit more into the professional one. Professional generation, it's difficult for them to convince them to join, because they are already very well fixed in their network. They have already a network, and it's a technical network, and they have a lot of jobs to do, and they are pretty busy people, and normally not all of them allocate so much time for sharing the knowledge, which was making them to be keen to join the organization. Normally this category, if it's not volunteer by their nature, this category is joining SPE just to have the source of technical knowledge, the source of information, to have access to the SPE paper and so on. Next over is the seniors. Seniors, some of them, they want to join, because sooner or later they will be retired and they have a lot of knowledge to share and not too much job to do, because they will not have a job anymore, and they prefer to work further, and they have a lot to share, because they have a career behind, and they are the best people to share knowledge with the other, to organize events and so on and so on. Some of them are very interested, others not. Those which are not interested, that means they have not been very active in SPE too much through their life. The others have been active in SPE, but of course due to the career, which is just making them busy all the time, they did not share too much. And now it's time for sharing, and it's time to join in. And it's very good for them, especially seniors which are closer to retirement and even retired. It's very good for them to be further in this society, because in this way they keep their network, despite the fact that they are not in a company anymore, but they keep their network. They have, let's say, a good mood. They are pleased that they are still in connection with young people. They have somebody to teach. They have somebody to meet with. They have these events in which we make a lot of knowledge exchange and so on, and not only knowledge exchange, all kinds of exchange. We are friends, and it's a network of friends also. That's very good. So this is about seniors. So basically these are the three main generations, and the key part we have to fight with to attract in is the middle one, because they are very busy with their career, and they had to be convinced to be a little bit more generous and get involved, because mostly SPE means volunteers. So they need to join in because they want to. It is different. When I started, it was a quite exclusive organization, because I was very proud to be recommended to join, because it was not possible in any other way in that moment to join SPE without a recommendation for another SPE member that was recommended you. So it was somehow granted for you that you are a top specialist and you deserve to join in. Now it's very simple. You just make a few clicks on the SPE.org site, so you can join very quickly. So the change is in good because we expand so much. So important is not to be selective when you select your members. Important is to be selective when you publish your SPE knowledge. I mean, the technical knowledge, the industry knowledge you publish in, you need to be selective. It must be a very good quality. And this is how it's making this organization a top organization from scientific point of view. About selecting members, this is not a problem. They had to be as many as possible, especially young generation people. It's very good that now for students it's free. This is sponsored by organization, so any students can be in for free. For the others, it is something to be paid, but it's not too much. I mean, it doesn't mean too much for anyone in Romania right now. The situation is changed from this point of view, first of all, that now any Romanian engineer can afford to pay this tax, membership for SPE. When I was first member, this was not so easy. It was quite a challenge to pay about $15–20 or more than that, and we were in a category of poor country in that moment, and that means the minimum of paying for the minimum of tax for enrollment. However, there were not too many that could afford that, and the companies were paying for their members. So in that moment, even for myself, the company was paying. Now it's not like this. We are jumped over from this low category to a little bit higher as a salary, and now everybody can pay for himself, but they must be interested to do that. So now it's a little bit more income, but a little bit less in interest. But the number of members overall has increased until a point, and then in all this year I have seen so many crises coming. And every crisis was dropping down not only the oil price, but also the number of members of SPE. And then was a recovering a little bit, and then was a new crisis, and then a new oil drops down, and a new drop down in membership in SPE, and so on and so on. This was happened because some of the companies simply quit to pay for their members, for their employees. Other causes which was making this fluctuation in membership all over these years were the fact that people were not so attracted by the industry, and they have left the industry during this crisis. And if they left the industry, they have left the membership in SPE, of course, also. But then it was another recovery and another recovery, and it always be like this. I mean, these fluctuations are not good, but the important thing is that we'll always come back, because I have seen so many drops and in all these 20 years, and I'm sure that after the drop is coming a recovery, because I have seen it so many times. So it does not scare me off any crisis like this, because we will recover. As long as we need energy, we'll be back in shape. When I have organized the first big international event here in Bucharest, despite the fact that it was very challenging and very contested by some top members in Europe, in the organization in Europe, even contested that we have the condition and people to mobilize to organize such big events. But no, we proved that we can, and we have organized the biggest event in Europe in that year, 2018, and it was related to well integrity. And because we had a very long tradition in well construction and well integrity, the longest history in oil industry, which Romania has, of course, we were the most appropriate to organize such an event related to well integrity. And we have organized it, and we had guests from all over the world, and everybody appreciated it. Of course, there were some positive feedback and negative feedback, and we always have to be like this. We need to receive some negative feedback in order to improve things. But generally speaking, it was mostly 90% positive feedback, and we have been congratulated for these events. And we have proved, of course, it was not the first time. We have organized big events in the past, but it was not me as a president. This was the first one I have organized, and I think it was quite successful, international event. Right now, things are changed, and top professionals today are slightly different in skills than the top professional in my time when I have graduated, for example. So everything is going to digital. This is a big challenge for everybody. When I have graduated, it was requested already to have some computer skills, but not too much. It was more or less related to programming and just programming to calculate something or to simulate your physical process you have to assist in a field or to design and so on. Now it's on a different level. Yeah, this digitalization is going into a different level. That means basically people must have knowledge about digitalization and remote control, because we're going, even if it's a very physical industry, which means heavy stuff to move, work with, and so on, we're going into digital era too. That means most of the things are controlled remotely by computers, and automatic system is adjusting them in real time, or you have to interfere and adjust them. So basically everything is going automatic. So you must have the knowledge in this direction. Everything is going digital, so you need to work with the database, you need to work with the software. So every technical skills you have must be associated with some digital skills in order to be able to control this technical process, because finally you'll control them digitally. And there are not so many operators anymore. Most of the operators must have now a lot of engineering skills, and they are in the office and they are controlling from the office the parameter of the entire process in upstream, and for this they need knowledge in this direction. So actually from the university they have this additional knowledge related to digitalization, and now it's going further, next step into artificial intelligence. That means not only you will make the decision, also computer can make the decision after he's learning the process and know finally how to optimize it. I think it will be because the upstream industry will not resist in any other way, so it must be optimized. There are more and more fields which are going into the last stage, that means brownfield, and that means you need to minimize the cost and everything must be automatic, and that means actually that one operator will supervise and operate maybe 1,000 wells. So if it's one people for one man for 1,000 well, or not necessarily a man, but one person that will coordinate that. That means it must have a big support from the computers. Yeah, the computers must predict even when you have to do an intervention. So it will be a predictive maintenance all the time in order to save time and save manpower, because you need far less manpower if you put a lot of this work to the computers. And that means, yes, in the next years, this will be a must. It's very simple. I tell them histories because I know a lot of history. It is my first hobby after oil industry. And I tell them how it was in the past and how easily people recover from different crises and so on, how nice it is to be in this industry, because I know the history of Romanian oil industry since 1850s, and so it's a lot of history behind they have to be proud of, and they are proud of if you make them aware of that, because some of them doesn't know. Yeah, once we celebrated 150 years of oil industry and then 160 years of Romanian oil industry, and one of my colleagues was asking me, really, we have 100 years of oil industry? Yes, it's not 100, it's 150. Oh, really? Yes. And I told him some things that happened in the past, and he was growing and growing enthusiastically. Really, we have been the first? Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, read some books, man, and then you will become more enthusiastic. And from the history also bringing the situation in which people in industry are recovering from crisis. So imagine what people were thinking when the steam engine was going down. It was not so popular anymore, and everybody was saying now the coal will not be used anymore. Yeah, coal industry, all this extractive industry was supposed to go down and collapse because there is no steam engine used anymore, and it was not like this. Coal represents energy. and this energy is still needed. And coal was used then to make electrical energy. And electrical energy was still used and is still used today, will be used further. So this will maybe, in the worst case, will happen with oil. If it will be only electric cars everywhere, we'll still need to produce energy, electrical energy, using, of course, hydrocarbons, because this energy will never be wasted. We'll have to use it. And if we use hydrocarbons, it means we have to extract hydrocarbons. So we have a job for a very long time. If I would give some advice for the managers of tomorrow is, first of all, how make a team. Yeah. This is the most challenging thing for a manager. No manager, doesn't matter how smart he is, cannot rule by itself. Yeah? So the managers which are coming have to rule by being just team leaders, and actually the team is doing things. So what is their role finally? Is not to do the things themselves, is just to take care of the people. Yeah? So it's very challenging to make a very well qualified team, a unified team, and made of very high, skillful people. And so basically what is the best job that manager can do is not just to give a very nice project and then to give example by himself, do it like I'm doing, is to select people. To select people and build a team. This is very, very difficult because you need you have a big base of selection, but finally you have to select the people based on an interviews, which is maybe 1 hour, maybe half an hour, who knows, and based on it you need to realize what is the potential of these people, and you have to select it. And selection is a decision that makes you this specialist to be your colleagues and member in your team for many, many years from now on. And if you take young people, that means you have also a big role in training them, in mentoring them. And finally, you need to see what is in the future. You must have a vision. You must see what is happening in the future. So you do not need to be an accountant and how much budget you have and how much you pay for this, how much you pay for that. You must be a visionary. You must see how it will be the industry in the future, and for this you need to build a team, and this team must work very well today and also to be a very good team for tomorrow. And this team is actually working on technical stuff, it's solving the things, is managing projects, and every project must be success, must be an achievement, because if a project you do but then you realize that you have achieved nothing, that means it was wasted money. So you must have a success, that means you must have a successful people that have knowledge, that means technical skills, but not only that, you need to have people with managerial skills, because you do not imagine that you lead all of them and you manage everything. They have to manage, every one of them, their own project. So must be people with leadership skills also and managerial skills, because each one of them will be a little manager which will manage for himself the project, and you do not need to coordinate them too much. I mean, just to coordinate them, but not doing a micromanagement. Never do that, the micromanagement. Coordinate them and motivate them, and then everything will be fine. And if you give more freedom, there will be more ideas coming from the team, and these new ideas is making the company to survive. And not only the company, if we talk about SPE, is the same. So generally speaking, companies that have died, that because of the defective management, companies that did not survive in the past, if you take and analyze and see why they have not survived, those which did not survive did not manage to reinvent themselves. So that means no new idea coming in, not changing everything and so on. If you give freedom of the team, freedom of the people, they come with a new idea, they have initiative, they have a lot of self-initiative, and these are the way in which the new ideas are coming in, and based on that you make new projects and then so on. And these companies which are managed all the time to reinvent themselves, they are always surviving. In 90s, yeah, maybe I'm not old enough for this, but yeah, I remember something when I was a student in the 90s. Yeah, it was always a challenge, yeah, especially women in industry was a big challenge, and because when I was graduating the university in 1990s, yeah, it was exactly 1989 actually. I was young, and in that moment there were not too many girls which were trying to join this University of Petroleum and Gas. We were mostly boys, and it was a very tough examination at the beginning. And this examination was not technical only, mathematics, physics, and all the rest that you need to graduate to be admitted in university, but also a sport challenge, yeah. They were this kind of sport examination. You must run for 5 kilometers in a certain time. You must dump with a very heavy stuff and so on. Basically, they were checking you if you are physically fit for such a job. And from the beginning, they were having the preconception that actually women are not physically fit for this job, not too much, but of course, girls were admitted too. They were passing the same test, but their, threshold were a little bit lower, yeah. They have to run also 5 kilometers, but a little bit in a longer time, and so on and so on. But anyway, it was considered also physical challenging work, so not too many women were keen to join in the industry. But some of them did, because they were having tradition, they were believing in that, they wanted to be in this industry. And after they have graduated, some of them were doing just office work, unfortunately, not too much field work. But things started to change. Starting to change, especially from 2000. I have seen it changing more and more. More and more girls were students in university, and then more and more girls I have seen working in a field and also working in the office. What I have seen is we didn't have any other kind of challenge, like foreign people to be integrated, immigrants to be in the team, and so on. This was happening far later on, after 2005, but it was never a challenge that means was happening naturally. Yeah. So, for example, yeah, to have girls in our team was just happening naturally because there were more and more people from different qualification with different background. They were admitted in this industry, and they were, of course, both women and men. It was not necessary to make a certain effort just in this direction in order to integrate and to have more diversity and so on. But what we have seen when this was happening, it was a big, progress actually. Because I have seen the teams working. When I was part of the team which was making an assessment center for fresh graduates to be admitted in our company, I have seen the teams of students which were challenged with different stuff during this assessment center, and I have seen the groups which were containing a girl, which were working better than others because, students were trying to present themselves in front of the other member of the team as being good. If it's girls and boys together, they even more doing that. So they were working far better with more enthusiasm when they were mixed groups, comparing with when they were only women's or only men's in a group. And this was happening more and more than in the office. This was happening in the work team, and we have understood that it's good to have this diversity. And about the other nationalities, this was happening also naturally. It was not too much effort for this. It was just happening when we become an international company. And now I have colleagues which are Serbians, Moldavians, from Senegal I had one guy, from Latin America a lot. So, and when they integrate, they are bringing more enrichment in the industry because they have knowledge and from different area of the globe, and also they have different culture. So working in a team with different people like this is not just a good experience from technical point of view. It is also an experience from cultural environment point of view, and this is bringing more enthusiasm to everybody which is in a team. So I prefer to work in such a team when there are more people from different parts of the globe, because when we discuss together in the meetings and everybody's making a joke related to his origin and about his country, it's bringing enthusiasm in a group, and they are working better after that. Of course, it's happening all the time. So maybe I should convince more people to join in, and I didn't. Yeah. So I was just relying on their own willingness to join our organization, and I was not pushing them enough, and I was not showing enough the advantages of joining, especially about senior members. I was having a very good network, and many seniors which were in network with me did not join SPE in that period. Some of them did, but some others didn't, and I did not put enough effort for that. So I was trying, but probably I didn't try enough, yeah. So because I would like to see more involvement of these senior members which have a very good knowledge. They are top specialists in a country, in the world, and they should share more their knowledge inside SPE. I did not manage to bring many of them in, just 2-3 of them, which have been rewarded with international awards. Maybe this was the attraction point, I don't know. I would rather bring more professionalism, yeah. For this, we need again money, so we go back to the challenge with the money, but solving this challenge, bringing more professionalism would be good. So, yeah, we are all volunteers. Basically, this is our organization. It's based on volunteers, yeah. But some things need to be professionally done. For example, our own site of SPE Romanian Section must be professionally maintained. And finally, just based on volunteers, which is sometimes going into amateur side, and we do not like to be amateurs, volunteers yes, but not amateurs. When you see that it's amateurs doing things, so it's looking like things is done by amateurs, it's better to bring professional in. So this is what I would like to change, but of course it needs a little bit more money. Some things need to be done professionally with responsibility by professionals, and of course they need to be paid for. This is something I would rather change, but of course needs extra budget. Not enough, yeah. I mean, in these 25, 26 years that passed through, the biggest challenge was to attract people more in, yeah. So not just to be member, but to get involved. Yeah, this was the things we were fighting all the time. So sometimes we were the biggest organization in Europe as a number of members. Yeah, so this was, of course, making us glad, all of us, making us proud. But how many of them were really involved? Not too many. So the job was done by 4, 5, 10 people, which were very keen, very volunteers, and they were doing most of the jobs. So this is something that is supposed to be different, and I would like to make it different from now on, to get more and more people involved. So not just being member, but doing something for the organization, and also attract people to join into the technical events. And from now on, the challenge, maybe the question was not asking me that, but I'm telling a little bit about that. Yeah, from now on, the challenge, it is this trend, general trend toward clean energy. So it doesn't mean we have to forget about oil and gas upstream industry, we just need to make it clean. And this is a challenge, but it's very possible. You young professionals, member of SPE or not, just put a lot of effort in your work, yeah. When you are training yourself to become a top specialist, put a little bit more effort in that. Forget about having fun with the friends for a while and just read more books. Because yes, it is necessary to have technical knowledge, and not only technical, all kind of knowledge, you must accumulate this knowledge. So this is the starting for everything. So good luck in learning and accumulating knowledge.